Why do you need to know a product before going to the details of data? That's what we're gonna teach. I can see my playbook in the site, which has kind of example of a virtual try-on platform where we define the customer segments, the pain points, why do you want to build that product itself, what is the MVP, startup acceleration. So this is basically early stage startups. A lot of startups in India and US are there. They want to understand the product market fit. They have ideas in mind, but they don't know like what the market wants, what is the product, how it is aligning to the market. So what is your take on recommendation to the right person at the right time of the customer journey and cross-selling and upselling that product to the customer?
Yeah, I think we're all living in a world wherein everything is moving towards hyper-personalization. So 10-15 years ago, we were all about segmentation that was cutting edge. 5-10 years ago, everyone wanted to build a recommendation system. And now it is all about hyper-personalization.
This is the art of building AI-enabled products. A series will be starting throughout the Bay Area, LA, New York, and it covers the topic related to AI/ML. So how do you define your strategy, overall vision? What is the competitor analysis says? What is the overall market says? So you have to understand the basics of product building before knowing the data. Why do you need the data, right? Data can be related to a customer, for example. You need to know the data in and out about the customer, which is...
If you're thinking about product, if you're thinking of AI, what are some of the lessons? With my background being in the venture business, we have some of our startups recently started doing two kinds of interfaces, one for a basic user, one for an expert user who really want to care about AI and others who don't really care about AI at all. And that may be a nice way to differentiate and get adoption.
Learning AI and copy, I enjoyed at working in Keller. So Aswini asked me to come and talk about AI agents, and I'm going to cover these 4 topics.
For us to do everything we need to do, we need different experiences, different skills, and together we'll make it happen.
Is a skill that cannot be replaced with AI.
Depends on what you're leading, but when you're talking about leading people, I would say you need human beings. Although we're on Zoom and I can't see most of you, I can see a few of you. Humans have the ability to make others seem important.
Today we're going to talk about AI and ML in CDP in the context of building products.
So according to the research, recently there are AI-enabled a lot of risk associated with algorithm bias, lack of transparency data. We just talk about some of the presentation prior already addressed.
Over 5 billion people will be impacted in next 5 years if you don't address this challenge. And more than 5 million enterprises will need robust data privacy solutions in next 5 years. Otherwise, their data will be exposed.
So cloud is something that's applicable everywhere, right? Be it generative AI, be it big data, any technology. So it's not anything different from it. So within cloud, when we talk about different AI and data technologies, that's where all of this generative AI, data science, predictive analytics is just one part of it.
Will not just involve AI/ML. Before AI/ML, you need to know the data. You need to have the basics of data science, data analytics, data engineering, and then you go to AI/ML. So it will be a complete cohort, you can say, based on the interest. Obviously, we start with product and go backwards.
All right, so about me briefly, I work as a senior data scientist in Microsoft. Been working in the fintech in the past, briefly in a Wells Fargo, VMware for some time. I was also fortunate to work with the US government. Spaywar is a San Diego-based US government institute. I worked as a data analyst. That's my first data career. I used to always define myself as where I work, what I do, and for this time, I thought of something different. I'm something different than what I do on a daily basis, right? So I also like to build my own personal brand, and I think for everyone who's listening today, I would like to suggest that in my own career so far, we carry the work, what we do on our career-wise, professional career-wise, but there's always a side track that you can do to build your own brand.
For customer data activation, removing human constraints means we can have a world of infinitely fine segmentation, infinitely specific content, infinitely precise targeting. The result will be hyper-personalization, where each message is custom crafted to suit that individual at that current context.
Reasoning. It cannot be that you are asking the LLM to just go and do the task, ask it to think.
plan, execute, review, and then come again and plan and execute. In each step, it can use any of the tools, it can use memory, anything.